Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. I am Shweta Dubey, your moderator for today, and I'm really excited and delighted to join you all for this extra special because this is a very first episode of our Great HR Meets Season 2. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, let me take a moment to share what we are about at Great HR. Please have a look. Cool. I hope you all enjoyed watching our latest brand film, just, a snippet of all the offerings that we have at Great HR. So coming back to our webinar today. So today's webinar is brought to you by Great HR in partnership with edX Security Systems. And we have chosen a very relevant topic to kick off season 2, which is, as you are aware, designing agile HR policies for growing businesses in the UAE. Before I dive into the topic, let me quickly run you through how the session will flow. The session is divided into 3 parts. Like the first will be the short presentation by our partner edX. The second part will be the discussion with our expert today, and which will then be followed by the audience Q&A. Also, the session is currently being recorded, and the same will be shared with you once the session is over. So, without further ado, let's get started. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Diljit Parayat, General Manager, edX Security Systems, who will kick things off with a short presentation. Over to you, Diljit.
Thank you, Shweta. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen. So you can see my screen, right, Shweta?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Diljit and I'm the General Manager for edX Security Systems. So I have been allotted 5 minutes to quickly run you through what we do as edX. So to simplify what we do, we are an end-to-end workplace and workforce solutions provider. So what we do as a workforce security solutions, we are going to see in the next slides. In a nutshell, if you would like to compress what we do as a company, I think this slide is the best summary of that. So as a system integrator, we have solutions that protect your workplace as well as enhance the efficiency of your workforce. So we do this by a mixture of hardware and software solutions. So hardware solutions that are meant to authorize or connect the right people at the right place. So we use solutions like face recognition, mobile ID, smart card for authorization, as well as for entry management. We use solutions like flap barrier, road barrier, e-gates, or door access even. So all the hardwares are usually in correlation with the software part. So in the software side, we have, of course, payroll management, which is related to attendance management, leave management, visitor management, and access control for people being in the right place. So with the kind of solution we offer, we ensure that the building occupancy is with the right people. We also give dashboard view to the senior management who can uh, verify that the security of the premises is maintained. When we go through such projects, we approach these projects in three steps. Uh, our commitment is to ensure that the customer's problem has been solved by uh, using the solution that we have offered them. And to ensure that this has happened, we have to go through a consultative engagement, because every organization has its own security or workplace related challenges. So we will have to do multiple iterations to come to a solution that works for each organization. Some may be a factory, some may be a office building, some can be a plant like a power plant. So every solution is different. And for that, we have a solution driven mindset. Although the components may be similar, the application may be different. The intelligent work tech that we provide gives the user AI-driven automations where the entire process can be automated. The existing systems that the customer has can be seamlessly integrated to one another. The Stacks Plus platform that we provide gives a unified platform where multiple systems can be brought alive. And in the end, the management gets actionable insights that helps in the decision making and also in the increased security of the workplace. Uh, when we talk about security, we have solutions in access control that allows the right person to be at the right place. So this can include access control solution for locker management, where in the universities or in large areas with large workforce, people want to safely deposit their valuables. Data center access control is another area where restriction is required, and you have to have a clear log of who has entered where and why. Also in elevators, in high rises, there is a requirement for uh, people that must be going to the only approved floors. Further application of workplace security can be visitor management. Visitor management is required where there are a lot of visitors and you need to have an audit log of who has entered your premises. If there is any blacklisted visitor, how can we avoid them? Also, large premises require a solution for key management, because not every door can be access controlled. So you still have to know who has the key to which place and when it was returned or when it was taken. The advanced locker management solution, as I had mentioned earlier, provides insights into the usage of whether it is a luggage locker in a public transport facility, or the student locker in a university, or an employee locker in a hospital for nurses or other staffs. Once the workplace is secured, also it comes to the workforce management. So we have seamless workforce management through our time attendance and leave management module, as well as the payroll with greytHR. We also do project and job based costing modules. So if there is a project and if the project management wants to understand the total cost involved in manpower of the project, this can be achieved. Also, once the system is implemented, the support and the after sales part is very crucial. We have an online ticketing platform that our customers can use to register their ticketing. There is a dedicated support team that's ready to assist you with the support, and also a very structured support process. Some of the partners that we have worked and are working in the region include greytHR, BFT, Matrix, Gyro Automation, Network Optics, some of the leading names in their own domains. Also, we are present in all the GCC countries other than Kuwait. So we are there in Saudi Arabia, in Bahrain, in Qatar, in the UAE, as well as in Oman. So this is it from me. Thank you, Shweta, for giving me the opportunity. And we are here to empower your workplace and elevate your workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Diljit, for the presentation. You may stop sharing your screen.
Sure.
So that was a session, short session by our partner ADEX. Now I think we are ready to begin the session. So coming to the topic, as you know, the businesses in UAE grow, one would see that HR teams often struggle to keep policies relevant, compliant, and flexible. The truth is, the one size fits all approach doesn't really work anymore, especially in a fast paced, changing environment where, employee expectations, labor laws, and business priorities keep evolving. That's where agile HR policies come in. They are designed to adapt quickly, balance compliance with employee experience, which is equally important, and really support sustainable growth. In today's session, we'll dive into how organizations can build HR frameworks that not only scale with the business, but also stay future ready, all while staying aligned with UAE labor laws and the unique needs of the region. Guiding us through this very important topic is Ms. Emma Davies, founder of Evolve Hub. We are delighted to have you with us, Emma. It's an
Thank
honor to
you.
welcome you as our expert speaker. Let me quickly introduce Emma to all of you. Emma is a seasoned HR leader with extensive experience in workplace culture, employee well-being, and people management. She was formerly the Chief Culture and People Excellence Officer at Massar and now leads Evolve Hub, which is a strategic HR partner to many well-known businesses in GCC. Emma also founded the Evolve People Network, a community for HR professionals to connect and grow. With her passion for people first strategies, she continues to shape and inspire the HR landscape in the region.
Good
We are
morning.
so excited. Hi, good morning to you. Good evening for us here. We are very
Yeah,
excited to
sorry, it's
learn
later
from
where you
your.
are.
So as I was saying, we are very excited to learn from your experience. So I think let's jump straight into the first question. What do you say?
Yeah, let's go.
So, Emma, what does it truly mean to have a agile HR policies in today's fast-changing environment?
Well, let's remember why we have policies. Policies are written because somebody once made a mistake and nobody had thought about an outcome. So all of a sudden we have all these hundreds of policies. You know, I remember the days when you had a policy how to send an email, you have a policy on like every transaction, especially from HR. For me, I'm not a big believer in policies because I believe that being a principle-based business is much more important. And if you've got the right culture, you don't necessarily need all these policies. But let's also remember, going from a business of 5 people to 500, you start to see different problems coming in. So when you're working on policies, don't write them for the worst case scenario, write them for the best case scenario. For me, it's all about outcome over process, retention of people, all those kind of things. Look at policies like that and make sure they can be changed easily. You know, I've heard of people who say, well, to change a policy here, it takes us about a year. Well, if it's a policy that needs to be changed, let's do it quickly. Let's change it and change it for a reason. But also let's communicate. Let's tell people why we're changing things. So many policies kind of go under the table. Oh, yeah, it's signed. But let's not tell anyone. There's a reason why we don't want to tell anyone. You know, there's something more to it, isn't it? So for me, it's about being agile, being principle based, not necessarily rule based, but also anticipate change, you know, tech disruption, those kind of things happening, employee expectations. they're changing all the time. And if we've got outdated policies, they don't mean anything. People don't even listen to them or read them. So don't base everything on that.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I think by mistake my camera got switched off. Oh yes. That whatever you said, retention and policies, announcing the policies, communicating them very in a very transparent manner to every employee in the team and the key stakeholders is imperative. I mean, I can't agree more, and I think that really sets the stage well uh, for the next question as well. I think we should moving forward. So I'd like to ask, based on the response that you've also shared, based on your experience with GCC and UAE businesses, what are the top 2 to 3 HR policy challenges growing companies really typically face these days?
Look, it's maybe not a policy, but for me, it's about localization and embracing it and doing it in the right way. It becomes a bit tiring when people say, well, we'll do it, but we'll do it kind of the bare minimum. We won't develop people. And then I get to work with companies who are doing these amazing localization programs, whether it's Saudiization, Emiratisation, and bringing people in and developing them and putting them into succession plans. Because I've always said my goal would be to walk away from my role and replace me with a localized person, because that's the right thing to do. I think that gone are the days of just putting it to one side and hoping it goes away, but it's got to be done right and it's got to be done properly. We're dealing with people. We're not dealing with just a number. It shouldn't just be a percentage. Oh, we've got to have this percentage. We're dealing with people. How can we find the right people? How can we make sure the culture works for everybody? And looking at our policies from that perspective, we have different things then that come in as a policy. That would be kind of one of my things. Scalability, again, I touched on this before. If you're a startup and you've got 5 people, you might not need a policy. And everybody knows my take on this, but my view is a lot of startups bring in a CEO and a COO and a CFO, and they say, don't worry about the HR, we'll do that ourselves. And then all of a sudden they've got 50 employees and stuff is going wrong. Because they go, oh, the HR stuff, it's just people, it's easy. And I'll never forget, I was interviewed once and someone said, why do I need HR? And I said, because you've got people. And as long as you need people, you need someone to look after that. Because line managers don't have time, and it should be a business partner case, so it should be done together. But for me, it's if you've got 5 employees, get your HR right, get your policies done at that stage. But like I said before, be agile with it. You're going to have to change. If you've got 500 employees in 2 years' time, your policy is going to need to change. There's going to be different needs. You're going to, looking at the different needs of different people and what happens in businesses is something that is a real HR job. I think people say, oh, I don't understand what strategic HR is. And my line manager told me to be more strategic. It's looking at the future of the business and relating that into people talk and people terms. So if your business is saying we are scaling, look at your policies now and see if they're going to work for that strategy. Because if they don't, you're going to have a problem, and a big problem quickly. And people like to, so, I know I said earlier, I don't like rules, but people like to find understanding, people like knowing what they can do, what they can't do, what's right for them. So I think it's important. Again, that goes back to communication more than anything. For me, policy change, one of the top ones is going to be retention and engagement. There are so many opportunities for people now in the Middle East. We're seeing a big influx of people wanting to come in from places like Europe and the UK for various reasons. People have always migrated to that region because it's safe. It's where people want to bring up their families. And I always say to people, if you're going to have a baby, have your children in Dubai. I was lucky enough to have one of mine in Dubai. She had a fantastic life when she was there, and we got to do things as a family. So younger people are coming in with young children. Think about that. It's a more diverse workforce. They're the things that are going to be impacting businesses. And one thing that is really important, and a colleague of mine, another Emma, she talks about cultural intelligence, and it's really, really important. That's something that will be a policy challenge going forward.
Yeah, I can agree on all the points that you've mentioned. First is the localization that you mentioned is very, very important for each region, and also the retention part, or designing it in a way which is suitable for that particular region. So, thank you for that very practical tips, Emma. And I'll build on this with this next question that I have, which is, why is it important for companies to keep HR policies flexible during, phases of rapid growth? What is that? Why is
They
that
should be
so
kept flexible at all times, because it's people, it's HR. We're not dealing with numbers. The difference between an HR person and finance person is, and I go back to, again, the story. HR is as important. And I was best friends with the CFO in my previous job because we had to work hand in hand together. There's always this thing that HR and finance don't get on. Actually, they are the two departments that should work really closely together, because during any growth, any change, they're the people that you need on the table trying to fix problems for you. Things pivot so quickly in the Middle East, so quickly. Things change. We're going this way. This is a new direction. If you've got rigid policies, so say, for instance, your policy around relocation is really rigid, all of a sudden you've won a project in Saudi Arabia and you've got a rigid process that you can't change. How are you going to get people to go? You're not. And then you're going to start making bad decisions, because you make a decision based on individuals. Make a decision based on the business case and what the business needs. Rigid policies really slow growth. So be agile. Make sure that everybody in the leadership team understands why we might need to change a policy, and it shouldn't take 65 steps and 8 signatures that take a year to get. That's kind of stop the bottlenecks on policy change. I've been really lucky in all my roles where worked so closely with the CEO. I've gone, we need to change this. This is the outcome. This is what will impact us if we don't do this. And it's been changed. So I'm very lucky that I've worked like that. And I think that the more we can get people to accept how quickly the Middle East moves, the better. Get HR aligned with that strategy again. So many HR people get told, oh, you're not strategic. We are very strategic, but we maybe just don't put it into pretty language that, a CEO or a board wants to read. We're like, look at market opportunities. We understand the market. We understand where the recruitment's going to come from. If there's growth, that's strategic. That's a strategic part of your business, looking at the recruitment, where you're going to get all these people from to grow, how you're going to get the right people. And I've always sat as bar setter in the recruitment team, that our business has a culture. This is what we want it to deliver. This is what we want it to do. So have somebody from HR on that team. A line manager can teach technical skills, but you can't teach culture. So you've got to find the right people, especially for growing businesses.
Absolutely, can't agree more. And as you rightly mentioned, that agile policies are not just for growing companies. It's for tenured old companies as
Everyone.
well, because things change, technology changes, requirements change. So it's very important to be flexible in that area. So coming to my next question on the very same thing, Emma, what are some of the practical ways, according to you, to make HR policies more adaptable to change, and without losing structure, basically?
Review them regularly. Look at them regularly, even when you think you're not going to need them. Things change. Look at them. Put them into practical implementation in different case studies for all different types of people. Does this meet this business unit's needs? If it doesn't, why? Can we change it, or does it need to be flexible? Are there, policies should be grey. There should be the ability to change them, because sometimes you are going to have to step outside them. You're going to have to make a business case as to why you go outside that policy. So review them, know them. I've worked with lots of people who said, oh, I didn't know we had a policy for that. Again, because nothing's been communicated. So make sure the leadership team know them, because that's where your problems come in, where the leaders go, oh, I promised such and such this. And you go, that's not in policy. It's your job to guide those leaders as the HR professional. Make them modular so you can change bits of them. Don't change them all. We don't need to do that. And just have some guiding principles as a business of what you believe in. And I think guiding principles are, one of the companies I worked in, we realized that our business was about people. And if we had a policy that prevented them from doing their jobs, that wasn't a good policy to have. So that was our guiding principle. Does this policy allow everyone to achieve what they need to achieve? And that's when you're getting it right.
Superb. Yeah, I think, yeah, everyone here will agree that was both whatever you mentioned, it was both insightful and both actionable as well. It was very easy to comprehend. So, Emma, how can HR leaders, ensure policies support both business goals and employee needs? Because, I was just researching on the topic, and one of the recent surveys done, I think through LinkedIn, mentioned that around 63% of employees in the UAE itself are seeking more of hybrid policies, hybrid working. So how businesses can kind of ensure such policies that doesn't hamper business goals and also take care of the employee needs?
I'm like when we talk about hybrid remote working on schemes, I'm lucky. Like at the moment, I can work anywhere in the world. But do you know what I really miss? I miss being in an office with a team. So I've actually spent my entire summer in an office with a team. It was brilliant. I think that we must remember that there's so much learning that we do from people in the workplace. I was actually interviewing a university student yesterday, and her mum was there as well. We were talking, and she said, I want her to go and get, she did most of her schooling during COVID and university, so she didn't get that interaction. So she needs to go into an office to learn from people, and that's actually what she's crying out for. So I think we need to remember everybody has different needs. And when you're looking at policies, you've got to look at, does it support the business goal and does it meet employee needs as well? So does it improve your business outcomes? Does it work for your business? But does it create a great employee experience as well? Because ultimately employees are our force. They are us. They're they're what delivers. Pretty much most businesses need people. I'm not convinced AI is going to take over, but I might not be saying that in 5 years. But we need those people. So look at the dual lens on it. Does it look after the people and does it meet the business needs? Because if it's swayed in either way, then it's not going to work well. Work with leaders and teams. Don't assume as HR we know everything. I made that mistake during COVID. I assumed everybody wanted to work from home and be safe. And I was wrong because I had lots of people who needed to be in an office to get that social interaction because they were away from their families. So never assume as HR we know what people want. Talk to people, talk to line managers, look at it from that perspective. And always look at your people KPIs should be aligned with your business KPIs. It's really important. And do your policies meet that?
Oh yes, that's a very valid point that your people KPI match with your organization goals KPIs as well. That's a very very valid point, Emma. So what do you think? In what ways can the right HR tech help simplify and speed up policy implementation, according to you, in such
There's
a
so many things you can do. I mean, we're looking, a lot of people are talking about AI and HR and how you get answering questions and stuff. I still think people like to talk to people. So one of the systems that I put in that wasn't necessarily tech, but it was around a 4-hour response time to people who sent HR queries in and a 36-hour solution time, and that was tech in my mind, because actually it was people answering emails, people answering the phone. That was tech in those days, a long time ago, to make sure people felt wanted. I mean, now we have digital workflows for everything, but one thing I'll say to you about digitization is don't just pick one process. Look at the whole space and work out how you do it all together. I believe self-service is one thing, but again, people still like to talk to other people. I think that for me, when I look at digitization, I think use best practice, because just because you do something in your business that you think is right, and I found this out when I implemented a system previously. I sat in the implementation meeting and the payroll manager got the spreadsheet up and I was like, why am I seeing that spreadsheet? We've got a system. She's like, yeah, but we'll put it on the spreadsheet once we've done it on the system. And I was like, no, we will never see the spreadsheet again. Because people have so used to the process and have always used that process, they forget that that's what that's there to do. Same thing the other day, somebody asked me to post something on LinkedIn. I was like, the system does it now. The system does that with you and I. And they were like so relieved, but it's just getting used to it. But I think the best thing is our access to all this knowledge now is I get access to the brains of every other HR leader in the region when I'm doing something on a system that I go, oh, I would never have thought of it like that. I would never have thought of it. So it's sharing that best practice through system use that works. I think that's the role of tech.
Absolutely, but I think still there are many companies out there using spreadsheets, which I think they need to come to the with the times they should run. And of course, AI is a widely spoken topic, and I think it's everywhere in right from each step of our organizational structure. So that's a
Absolutely.
very important topic that cannot be ignored at this time
No.
and going forward as well, because it is only going to get bigger. And HR tech is something that is actually, simplifying the lives
Oh,
of
absolutely, it
a lot
does.
of
Yeah.
them. Correct. Absolutely agree on that, Emma. Uh, so how can organizations, make sure their HR policies are inclusive and responsive to a diverse workforce, basically? So because they are spread across geographies, like you also work in a company and you keep traveling, and their workforce in every region. So how how HR policies can be inclusive
Well, they have
across?
to be. It's simple, isn't it? We work in the Middle East where we have the biggest mix of cultures ever, and everybody gets on and we all come together and we all work together. It's about understanding again, it just goes back to people and what their different needs are. For instance, we have family friendly policies, but then we must remember there's people that don't necessarily have families and not through choice. So it's thinking about a whole different spectrum of people. I think it's really important. I mean, I'm a mum, I've got 5 kids, but I've got some very good friends who don't have children, but so don't benefit from parts of policies. So think about how everybody can benefit. It should be a benefit for all. I think that companies have to get better at that, actually. I think to be inclusive. I've always done it because again, being lucky enough to work in the Middle East with all different nationalities, cultures, religions, it's incredible. So we're naturally taught like that. We are naturally as HR people, but it's also remembering again, and I talked about this a lot during COVID, my essential workers who were and still are sometimes called blue collar workers, which I don't really like because I don't think that's correct. They are essential workers. They were out delivering the water. They not essential like doctors and nurses, but they were essential to keeping the UAE having water at home. And they couldn't work remotely. They couldn't do that. So we had to look at what was their need during that time. So we created a policy around their working hours, around protecting them from viruses, those kind of things. And also their biggest concern was sending their money home. So we looked at policies on how we could support with that. You have to look at your people and its diversity. It isn't one size fits all. You can't have a remote work policy when you are operating a pharmacy. Like I work for a pharmacy in the UAE now. We can't have a remote working. Our pharmacist needs to be there. The shop staff, the retail staff, they need to be there. And so what else can we do? How else can we make it better for them?
Correct. So yeah, as you rightly mentioned that one size fits all doesn't fit now. It's imperative for all the cultures, for all the classes, of all the age group demographic. We have to have
For
customized
everyone.
policies. That's what I think agility is. So, what are some of the effective ways to collect ongoing feedback on HR policies from the employees? How do we know it's working? How do we know that they are catering to the employee requirements? Vis-a-vis.
Communicate. Can't stress this enough. So if you are, and I know everybody I know in the HR space doesn't do this, sitting in an office behind a desk, sending out emails, asking people questions, you're never going to get a response. Talk to people, go out to sites, go out to offices like the pharmacy. I spend a day a week, a morning in one store and a morning in the other, talking to everyone in the store, finding out what's going on. Are they okay? Understanding them. That's also the way we find out about people, if someone has a sick family member, understanding how our policies implement them. If you know them, they'll tell you. If they feel your presence, they'll tell you, they'll communicate. There has to be a trust relationship. So for me, it's about trust and communication. That's the absolute best way to deal with that.
That's my favorite word too, communication. Oh, absolutely. Can't agree more on that, Emma. Transparent, as you also, I think, touched upon this, then the very first question that communicate. It's
Absolutely.
because employees are actually the soul of the company and one of the most important stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, Coming to my next question, Emma, what role do you think does leadership play in keeping HR policies people first and future ready? How do they, seek with the changing times? How can they play that role?
It's really important that they know what the policies are. I
To
know
start
so
with.
many leaders go, oh, I didn't know we had a policy on that. Yes, we do. And remember, as an HR team, if you get it wrong on a policy, it's actually okay. What's the worst thing that can happen? We can fix it. We can change it.
Indeed.
People are like, oh, what if that policy goes out and people don't like it? Well, okay, but if we've talked to people and we've communicated the business need for it, that's okay. Policies should enable performance. So as leaders, that's what we use them for. We shouldn't be, because if you've got a poor performer, implementing a policy isn't going to change that. You should be dealing with the poor performer rather than putting a policy in that squashes everybody else, because that's what we do. Sometimes we put a policy in because one person broke a rule, rather than saying, actually, we've got 20 great people here who don't need to be impacted by this policy. Why don't we just deal with this problem rather than writing a policy? So leaders' roles is to think people first and work with their HR and people teams to say, how can we fix this problem rather than making it bigger than it is?
Absolutely correct. Now the HR roles are evolving, and they are, at the table strategizing with the CEOs and CPOs,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's the need of the hour,
Yeah.
basically. Um, Coming to, I think this is the last question that I have. Looking ahead, Emma, what trends you think will shape the future of HR policy design, specifically in UAE? And you can also, continue with other regions if you would.
Localization, nationalization. Let's just get it on the table. Let's sharpen it. Let's do it right. Let's get it right. Let's not just consider, oh, we need to get a percentage. Let's find the best people and bring them into our business and develop them, and then build policies that meet their needs. Obviously, HR tech is coming in more and more all the time. So that needs to work with policies. So think about how they impact things, people booking leave and simple stuff like that. I think well-being's a big kind of future trend, but it isn't. Well, I know there's probably people on here going, Emma, please don't say this. Well-being isn't putting on a free yoga session for your people. Actually, every time I do yoga, I get really badly injured. I break something or injure a muscle. So, but it's about looking at the heart of what everybody needs. And look, we can't fix everything for everyone. That's not HR's role. But what we can do is think about well-being, think about how look at people, some of the biggest problems people are going to have, cost of living, those kind of things. How do we impact that? We can't just give everyone a pay rise. That can't be a policy. So what do we do to make things a little bit easier for our employees? And then keep looking at this hybrid global workforce, because I think if our needs are great, we are going to have to go out into a global region to get people in. So how do we do that and do it well and make sure they meet the cultural need within the UAE and KSA?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think that the kind of perspective that you just shared, I think we don't get it in textbooks or anywhere on search. That's a, experience, the goal that you collected over the period of years, testing, trying, experiencing, and making
Yep.
mistakes. So that's what the
And there'll always be
insights
one
are.
person. I've sent so many policies out, and there's always one person who'll read it word for word and find your spelling mistake for you. And do you know what? In time, you just go, thank you so much, to the point you send it to that person first and go, can you just check this for me? Use them. There's always going to be one. And that's what I've done. So
Copy check
experience.
always. Correct. So, yeah, I think I'm done with the question. Any other insight, Emma, that we might have missed during the course of our discussion here? I would, if you any instance that you would like to mention apart.
Not from me. No, it's great to be back, and season 2 of our webinars.
Yes. Season 2, and you are our very first expert, and we are so glad to have you here. So, now I think we are coming to the end of the discussion here, and we are open for participants' questions, Q&As, basically. So I'm just seeing if we have any Q&As lined up. Please, everybody, whoever, the participants, I would request to share your questions here. and we can get them answered. Okay, we have our first question here. Emma, what your top 3 strategies to be agile today?
Oh gosh, top 3 again. I go back to, if you mean agile kind of in HR, you have to understand your business. Don't sit on a periphery of that business. Understand the business and where it's going, and where it's going today. That's critical. Look at your outcome and what you want your outcome to be. You know, today someone's going to ask you a question, and tomorrow it might change. Our role in HR is to be future focused. So if you know something's coming, have it in the back of your mind and think, how can we control that in the future? What can we do to make that better? And my strategy around being agile is just listening to our people in our business, because if you know that you've got someone who's incredible, who's a flight risk, and you let that carry on, that's not being agile. So think about your people and your succession. In fact, succession planning, that's the best thing I can say to you about being agile today. Think about that for your business.
Great, great. I hope you have got the response. I can't see your name here, basically. So yes, I think now that we are, coming towards the end of the uh, session, if there are any questions, please, you can write to us directly as well. Once again, thank you so much, Emma, for the session. It was very
Thank you.
insightful, very, very knowledgeable, very, practical tips that you shared. And you have certainly kind of given us a lot of great insights on designing agile HR policies for growing businesses. I would
Thank you
also
so
like,
much. It was lovely to see you today.
lovely to see you too, Emma.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much. Thank you. Thank you, edX, for being our partner for the webinar, and special thanks to all the attendees who joined us to make it more successful. If you have any questions, please write to this email ID, yasir.arafat@creative.com, and we will get back to you. We'll see you in the next section and with yet
Bye.
another next topic. Thank you, Emma.
Thank
Thank you,
you. Thank you,
everybody.
Emma. Thank you, Shweta. See you.
Thank you.